let's talk about our clean progression here. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to walk you through a step-by-step progression for how to learn a power clean. Okay, in a later video we'll talk about the progression to a squat clean, which is very similar. It's just a matter of dropping into a squat. Okay, so with this, normally you would start with a PVC or some type of a stick or dowel rod or something like that. Because when you're teaching this skill to someone who has not developed this skill, you want to make sure that they have developed the pattern before they're trying to move weight. No matter what someone says, you know, even if they say like, oh, I move better with weight, that's not totally true. You want to see the pattern without weight, see that they can coordinate their body before you put them under load. Okay, so practice it with a stick first, the same progression that I'll show you with the barbell, and then progress it to the barbell and make sure that the technique is still the same. Okay, so I'm going to grab a barbell. Okay, this is after you normally do a sort of a gentle warm up to get yourself a little bit warmed up. Okay, but to do this, you're going to do this from top down because the top portion of this lift is even more important than the bottom portion of taking it off the floor. When you do take it off the floor, you want to make sure that it's a good back position and a good deadlift as usual, because you never deadlift or pick something up off the floor with a super rounded back. Okay, so with this, if you want to use a hook grip, you can. Helps you hang on a little bit longer. Don't necessarily have to for this progression. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to first get my feet in a nice good jump stance that's directly under my hips. That's inside of shoulder width. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a small dip. Arms straight, working on really trying to break that barbell, trying to break that stick here. That sets my shoulders, pulls my scapula back, and rotates my elbows to point behind me. And when I add a little dip here, I'm pushing my knees out to make sure they remain over my feet. Okay, this is a small dip. My hips do not go back at all. I'm just going to be dipping by pushing my knees forward and keeping my chest super upright with my shoulders still over the barbell. Okay, so it's just a tiny slight lean forward. And then what we're doing here is we're just going to add extension. Okay, I'm extending the hips. So dip, extend, dip, extend. Practice this before you add any speed. You're going to practice every bit of this progression before you add any speed to it, okay? So dip to about mid-thigh, just keeping that chest nice and upright but still over the barbell, and extend. Dip and extend. I'm still against my thighs here. As I dip, you'll see that your shoulders should remain over the barbell. That means my arms are just straight down. If you're behind the barbell, then you need to dip down slightly with your chest slightly forward over the barbell. Okay, so we're just dipping and extending. Now, what we're going to add here is we're going to add, you can call it a jump, you can call it a fast extension, whatever you want to call it, whatever helps you make it, helps it feel right, okay, or get what you want to get out of it. Okay, so I'm going to dip here, I'm going to add some speed to it. I want to extend up my ankles, knees, and my hips. It's called triple extension, and naturally, I'm going to let that bar go as high as I can with straight arms by shrugging my shoulders slightly. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to drive that up. Okay, so slow motion, I'm going to extend fully and then shrug at the top. Okay, don't focus so much on the shrug. Just think about pulling that bar as high as you can without bending your elbows. So you're going to dip here and go. Okay, get 5 reps from here. Go. Okay, dip, make sure that chest is still upright, go. Add some good speed to this, dip, and go. And dip, and go. Okay, that's the first part of the progression here. We're still gonna only get that small dip, only going to about mid-thigh. Now we're gonna add a high pull to this. So this last portion of this lift of pulling it from mid-thigh, this triple extension, is the most important part of the lift, to accelerate that bar vertically, keeping it close to the body, and so you can drop underneath it. Okay? So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add a high pull to it. So after I fully extended, getting that acceleration of the bar, then the bar is already going up. I'm going to allow my elbows to bend and pull that bar up as high as I can get it up to chest height, okay? I want my elbows to always stay above the bar. That's just something that will help keep that bar very close to the body, okay? So slow motion, I'm gonna dip here, still staying pretty tall. I'm gonna extend and pull, okay? So jumping first, extend fully and pull, okay? Dip again, extend fully and pull, okay? Now let's add some speed to that. Dip and go. Good. And dip and go. Nice. Dip and go. Dip and go. Dip and go. Nice. Okay. Now from here, we need to learn how to catch. Okay. When you're learning how to catch it, this is a lot easier to practice with a dowel rod or stick or PVC pipe. But we're going to practice from that high pull position of dropping into a partial squat by letting our feet spread and punching our elbows through. Okay. Now the key with this is your grip has to open, so you're not gripping this bar with all of your might. Okay, you're gonna let it open so it's really just your fingertips on the bar. So after that high pull, you're gonna punch your elbows through into a front rack position. So it looks like this here, and then I'm gonna punch my elbows through and drop into a partial squat, like so. Notice my fingers have opened and my feet have spread slightly. My elbows have punched through. The bar landed on my shoulders, not in my palms, okay? After landing, stand up, reset your feet, back to that jumping stance, and then jump that bar off, and we're back to the beginning, okay? So we'll bring it back up here again, and go. This is the very fast portion of the lift. You stand back up, reset, back down, okay? Here, one more at this. Pulling up to chest high and punch, just dropping into that squat stance, okay? That'll be the end of your power clean. Okay, now I'm gonna re-grip here. Now from here, we're gonna practice the whole thing, putting it together. You have that triple extension, that high pull, and then punching through, okay? This is a high hang power clean with just a dip here, okay? So starting with this dip, okay, make sure those knees are tracking over the feet. That engages your glutes. Break that bar, keep that upper back nice and engaged. We're gonna add some speed to this. I'm going in 3, 2, 1, go. Really let it hit your shoulders by punching those elbows through and opening your fingers. Stand up, reset, back down. Just a nice tall dip and go. And stand up and dip and go. Okay, and dip. You make sure you're jumping fully, extending fully before you think about pulling this up. If you're feeling a burn in your arms, then you're bending your arms too early. Okay, think about keeping that bar as close as you possibly can to your body. One more dip. And go. And stand up with it. Okay, now to get into a hang position here for a hang power clean, all I'm going to do is I'm going to dip and then I'm going to push my hips back slightly to let that bar come down to a hang position that's just above my knee. Okay? So from here, the motion is exactly the same, but imagine you're squatting this up instead of just swinging your hips forward, okay? So that means I'm gonna maintain this position over the barbell. I'm gonna pull that bar up into my hips as I stand and explode to get that bar moving. So we're doing the same power clean motion that we just did from this high hang, but now we're gonna push our hips back slightly to get ready for a hang power clean. So from here, I'm gonna squat that up, pull it high, and drop underneath it, okay? So, from here, let's get in that hang position, lock that upper back in, break that bar, see those elbows pointing behind you, push those knees out, okay? So, from here, we're gonna add speed to it, We're gonna get 3 reps practice right here. So, ready? Go. And stand. And back down. Nice, all right. Let's push those hips back, but still keep that chest relatively tall. You're gonna squat that bar up and go. Okay. Let's get 1 more rep. Back down here. Stay nice and engaged in the upper back. Add more speed to it. See how fast you can jump. Imagine you're really jumping that bar up and landing in that squat position. At the same time, the bar meets your shoulders. Ready? Go. And stand. Good. Let's just get 1 more for good measure. Get in that hang position. Ready? And go. Nice. All right. This is a hang power clean progression. The next part would just be bringing it all the way from the floor. Bringing it from the floor will come to mid shin. And this is a lower stance than the deadlift. The deadlift stance, my hips are going to be a little higher, so I feel my hamstrings engaged. But for a power clean from the floor, I'm going to lower my hips while still allowing my shoulders to be over the bar. Okay? So a little bit more squat. So I'm going to squat this off the ground. So imagine you're pushing it off the ground, not just pulling it. Okay? So that means my knees need to be kind of pushing out slightly, or imagine you're rotating your feet into the floor so that you feel your glutes engaged. So I'm going to pull this off the floor, not worrying about being super fast until I cross my knees and I'm about in that hang position. And then that's when I speed it up. Okay, so it looks like this. I'm going to pull it under control and go. And plant here. Okay? So I'll do 2 more reps here from the mid shin. Really break that bar, engage the upper back. Ready, and go. Go. Okay? You should not feel that bar hit you in the mid thigh or lower. You really want to be pulling this in to your hip. Okay? So over here, let's get 1 more. Keep the chest over the bar as you pull it off the floor. And go. And stand. Nice. This is our clean progression.